Greetings, vloggers, bloggers, followers, and potters. Dustin here from Dustin's Dynasty with this week's second half of this week's vlog. Today we're going to continue our Forging Friendship series that we've been working on for the past, I believe, 3 weeks. We had a double feature last week because I didn't have much to vlog about otherwise. But today we had something else, so we did that, and you'll follow that. That's video 142, I believe. We're in video 143 of the Dustin's Dynasty history, but today we're on I believe, the fourth video of the Forging Friendships series that we're talking about forging friendships and relationships. It's very important to have these skills ready because, many times autistic people aren't taught, the skills that they needed. They need to excel in friendships and, you know, in relationships and friendships that it's not their fault. It's just what it is. It's just what it is, and it's just sometimes you just got to learn from it. um it's just something you have to do, and something have to do. So I'm going to read a little bit about why so again, I want to welcome you to my Forging Friendship series. While I'm certainly no expert being in my mid-30s, I do have some insight to share what it is about being in a relationship in the autistic community. The intention is to share my insight and my knowledge of topics and relationships, whether for dating or as a friend, of the common issues that autistics face today. So moving on, moving into today's topic. Sorry for the long rant at the beginning. I just want to get those points across because sometimes we read this series and we don't know what we're actually talking about. So today I want to talk about boundaries. And boundaries is something I even struggle with. I think it's a new term. People think it's a new term and that, it's a part of the thing. But being autistic, we really need to set boundaries when we're in a friendship, relationship, any kind of exchange between two people on a one-on-one level. Those boundaries need to be established. They need to be established soon. As soon as you know you're going to be a friend with this person, or it comes to fruition that you're going to be a friend with this person, these boundaries need to be established and enforced. And when they're not enforced, you need to back down. You need to say, I'm not going to, I don't feel comfortable. I don't want to do this. I don't feel comfortable doing this. And, and many times, as we were in the other half of the vlog about, having to say no. You don't have to do things. You don't have to give the things. You have the right to say no. You have the right to feel safe. You have the right to privacy. You have the right to all these things. You don't have to fight these fights because somebody's coercing you into them. So, we're going to get to some points today of what is a healthy boundary in a relationship versus an unhealthy boundary. And I'm going to speak a little bit on that, each one of those, as we go through them. I just want to point out, I will include the file, not the file, but I will include a link to the file where somebody included it with me from an autism group on Facebook that I've been using and understanding. So we're going to go ahead and get started. So, when you can, so the healthy boundary of this first one is you can say no or yes, and you're okay with it. And you're okay when others say yes or no to something. Unhealthy was, you can't say no because you're afraid of rejection or abandonment. And sometimes we have people that are have past traumas and past issues, and if that person isn't working for you, then if they're not being healthy for you, or if it's healthy, that they're accepting the word no, and they're accepting, when it's all on a consent basis. Even if they understand consent, and as far as certain things, but if they can't take the word no, that's a big problem and a big red flag that you need to get out of that. And if you can't say no, that's something you need to work on, because you're afraid of rejection or abandonment. You're afraid of being abandoned, or you're afraid of being rejected. And I know it hurts to be rejected and abandoned, but sometimes, being rejected is sometimes for your best benefit, or maybe it's best for the other person. And it's hard to see that you're hurting that other person, or you're being rough with that other person, and it's destroying them, or they can't be there for you. So, you have a strong, next one is you have a strong sense of identity and you respect yourself, versus your identity consists of what others think of you want to be. And you are like a chameleon. And, I don't want, that's, you have to define who you want to be in life. You don't, you have to, there has to be a separate balance between both parties. Um, you can't, you can't mold into this one unified team, when it comes to a friendship or a relationship, that it gets to the point where, everything, you have to rely on each other to be codependent and cohabitate and not even cohabitate, but even commingle or co-decide on something or be there for each other. That's a very unhealthy. And you have to always think about what the other person does. It's not right, and it's not healthy, and it's very, habitual. You expect, a healthy way is expecting reciprocity, and you share responsibilities. Again, share is a good thing. Um, Unhealthy wise, you have no balance in power or responsibility. You tend to be overly responsible or controlling and passive independent. And sometimes being dependent is not being naggy or being constantly needy, and that's hurtful, because that doesn't make it fair for the other side of the coin, where it can be hurtful. It just hurts, and it's very taxing on that person, especially autistic people, because we need our space too. And if you have a neurotypical interacting on the other side of an autistic person, who you have a neurotypical needy person who is interacting with an autistic person, and all they want is need. The autistic person also needs their space to be safe, and to calm down and be in their calming space and be relaxing. And when you're doing that, it really hurts. Um, when the next one is, when the problem is yours and when it belongs to someone else. And for me, that's hard to tell. But and you take, and sometimes, I want to buy into other people's problems, but you want to fix people's problems. And that's very unhealthy. So just be aware of that. That's a unhealthy boundary to fix. You can't be a problem fixer, and you can't take on other people's problems. You won't get anywhere. You need to work, you need to know what is yours and what you need to own, and what you can manage. Um, you need to share a healthy boundary is sharing personal information gradually in a mutually sharing, trusting relationship. Trust is a big pillar of a relationship, folks. Especially with autistics, because we tend to share too much, and so that kind of throws us off a bit. But we have to be careful with what we share, especially, with all the nuances of social media and the ability to connect to the World Wide Web these days. And I know I'm talking like I'm old, but I'm in my 30s, and I remember being a teenager in school, and you didn't share. The internet just came out, but we didn't have the things like Facebook and Twitter. They were not part of that, but I can't even imagine if they were. So we got to be very cautious about what we're sharing, what we're putting as relationship statuses, uh, what we're taking pictures of, what we're sharing pictures of, what we're tagging people in, those kind of things. A disadvantage or an unhealthy way is you're sharing that too soon before establishing that trust. Again, I want to say that trust is a big pillar. You got to have that trust. If you don't have that trust, you're nowhere. Um, you do not tolerate abuse or disrespect, but on the other token, you have a high tolerance of abuse and being treated with disrespect. If somebody doesn't, if you ask to if you ask for time away, and you don't get that request honored, or you don't ask to be in your space. And I hate to say it, suck space is like the big example, but that's something that I've had issues with. I've had issues with people being needy, and sometimes having not having being able to be yourself, because autistic people need time to unwind. And that's specifically for the autism community, because autistic people need to unwind and get in their space and work and process their thoughts and recharge. But if that other party is not allowing you to recharge and not giving you your space, that's a red flag. It's just not right. You have your own needs, wants, and feelings. You communicate them clearly. And I've tried that, and sometimes it gets through and sometimes it doesn't. Your wants, needs, and feelings are secondary to others, sometimes determined by others. So people think what you're going to do or how you're going to be clamped down to something. And that's not healthy. That's really not. You are committed and responsible for exploring and nurturing your full potential as a healthy reason, versus you ignore your inner voice. You just say, "Oh, they'll do it again." He's just doing that, or they're doing that, and you allow others' expectations to define what potential you really have. You stoop down to that lower level, and you don't allow yourself to grow, and you don't allow yourself to see that there is light at the end of the tunnel. And I think for me to see where I've had to get out of things was I had to be fully medicated, and I had to be fully medicated to where I had a sound mind for a long time, and where I knew I was okay, and I could be myself. I could be who I wanted to be and not be hyper and think of who I really wasn't, or who I really didn't want to perceive myself as, and what values I wanted to perceive myself as. I was living these very invalid values that had, I still to this day don't think I know why I did those things or how I did those things. And I don't even think I could explain those things properly. But now that I understand that I've lived my 3-year rumspring out of whatever I was doing, because I was trying to seek approval or trying to hide from reality that was really striking me at the time. And amidst COVID-19, and and issues with my first home, and now I'm finally on my feet for at least a year now, and finally just starting to be, now I want to say 40 days I've been taking my medicine regularly, and that's good enough. But sometimes I just feel like, you know, sometimes I feel I was not living the expectation that I knew I wanted personally, and the positivity that I wanted. And it may not even be the same kind of positivity from other people, but that your positivity outweighs what they want or what they need. And you have to, and it kind of raised a red flag for me to say that was unhealthy. You don't see the potential that you have. You stoop down to that lower potential. Um, a healthy way of that is segueing into another healthy way is being responsible for your happiness and fulfillment. You allow others to be responsible for their own happiness. You don't have to entertain them, basically. Sometimes you feel responsible. A negative way of that coin is you feel responsible for others' happiness and fulfillment, and sometimes rely on relationships to create that for you. I think sometimes other people have that and they don't see that as being unhealthy. But if you see that, you need to back away, and you need to focus on what you need to focus on for you. And you have to make yourself happy. I lived too long in being that negative, and I was probably with the way I was brought up, and that's probably I have to delve into that more for a video I want to do on that before the end of the year. But I see that sometimes I think we don't think we deserve those things, and we do. We 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 have to be responsible to be happy. We have to put the effort in to be happy and glad. um you know we value the next one in being healthy is value our opinions, your opinions, healthy instinct and instincts and feelings, as much as are more than other people's opinions. So, is attending to the understanding of what the unhealthy side of that is. You want to feel the feelings of others, and you really rely on others' opinions, feelings, and you become gullible, and that's a very bad trait that the autistic community has. It's not a bad trait. I want to say it's a bad trait. Correct me, please. I want to say, it's a trait that causes us to get into very situations, and I've been a victim of that myself. It causes very illicit situations that are very hurtful and can cause a lot of problems because we seek that attention, and we want that person to be happy with us, but it's not healthy for us because it's doing is making us miserable in the process many times. And we should feel what we want to feel. We should feel what we want to have the same manners, and we should have our feelings be validated for ourselves. And we shouldn't have to seek the validation of others for them to be happy, for us to be happy. You have to know and respect your limits. That's a healthy way. If you're not respecting if you allow others to set your limits, in order to please them, or try to define the limits for others, that's a red flag. You just can't do that. I mean, you have to know what your limits are. You have to set your limits. You have to set the bar. You have to set your values. You can't have anybody else do that for you. You have to know when you're tolerant. As an autistic person, you have to know when your tolerance is, and you have to know when enough is enough. And I did do a blog post on that yesterday, but you have to know when enough is enough, when you just can't handle anymore. And in a relationship or a friendship, you have to know when to say no. And I'm sorry if you have to say no, and that person just keeps trying to push, 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 then you just got to let it go. You're able to ask help is a healthy way, versus you feel that asking help is a sign of weakness and you want to avoid it. And sometimes I have to learn that I'm the stronger person in that. And autistic people are oftentimes afraid to ask for help because they fear that they're wrong. And when we're in that ill state of mind or that wrong state of mind, we don't want to be told we did something wrong or it wasn't our fault. And sometimes I have to commend my mother, and I know she probably watches this video, but for her to tell when things I have to solve my own problems. I can't, if I need help, I ask for it. But if I need to ask for advice, it's a third party or something that is biased to the situation, so that I can, and I know I need to ask for help. And until recently, reaching out was a hard thing for me, and it is for many autistics too. But reaching out was one of the godsends for me because I see things through other people's eyes that I wouldn't see otherwise. And I probably wouldn't be doing this video right now because of that. And I have to say thank you to those people. Um, the last set is the healthy way is you don't compromise values or integrity to avoid rejection or adversity. So true. You shouldn't compromise your values or what you want your integrity as a person to avoid rejection. You shouldn't, you don't want to, I mean, yeah, rejection's going to happen. It's part of life. People get rejected. It's a part of life. You comprom and the unhealthy way of that is you're compromising your values and beliefs to please others and avoid conflict. And I have a struggle with that, but I'm fighting it. And that's the thing. You have to fight it, and you have to come to a healthy term to not avoid. You're going to have conflict no matter where you go in life, and you're going to have to face your music wherever you go, so that and you're going to have problems, and you're just going to have to face them, or you're going to be hurting more and more and more. So with that, I want to thank you for that. If I didn't mention already in the first half of the vlog, but this is the second video. It's a library in our hometown. It was built by industrialist Andrew Carnegie. He built several libraries, not only in Pennsylvania, but across the states. And and this one specifically was built in the early 1900s, and is still in use as a library today, although COVID has limited its hours. It's a beautiful building. It has a beautiful auditorium on the second floor, but it's on the National Register of Historic Places. And I'll include that information as well on the videos. I want to thank you for listening. If you liked what I talked about and have any suggestion, please give that a thumbs up. If you thought I was too wordy or too much content, put the thumbs down. If you need to tap notification bell, tap that for no more videos on this series. Be sure to subscribe to the channel. If you want to leave a comment, I do read the comments. They come into my inbox. So if you want to leave a comment about something maybe I'm not covering in this series that you would like covered, or just anything in general, I'm open to comments. I do read them. So be sure to follow to like on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Dustin's Dynasty. Visit me on the web at dustinsdynastyusa.com. Also, I'm on Pinterest and TikTok at Dustin's Dynasty ASD. I also stream this vlog will be streamed on a podcast, and as well the blogs that I write every Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday on many streaming platforms, including Spotify at Dustin's Dynasty ASD. I want to thank you for listening. Have a happy Thanksgiving if you hear this before Thanksgiving, and we'll catch up with you next week. Thank you and have a good day.